Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Hey,
hey.
Hodu la Yahweh ki tov, ki leolam chesdo. Hodu la Yahweh ki tov, ki leolam chesdo, hodu, 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 hodu la Yahweh ki tov, hodu, 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 hodu la Yahweh ki tov. Give thanks to Yahweh, He is good, for His mercy forever endures. Oh, give thanks to Yahweh, He is good, and His mercy forever endures. Oh, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to Yahweh, He is good. Oh, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to Yahweh, He is good.
He's good and very good. All right, we're going to go ahead, make sure we're recording. Everybody might be seated. Okay. Abba Yahuwah, we bless you today. We thank you for your son, Yahushua. We thank you for all that you do for us, both small and great, and help us to keep our hands up in praise and worship and surrender to you, that you might get the blessing in all things, and that we might show that we love you by keeping your commandments. We ask that you open our eyes and behold wondrous things out of the Torah. Show us great and wonderful things, things that we knew not, that we might apply them to our lives, that we might be better Talmud of Yahushua, better mentors, one to another. B'Shem Yahushua, amen. All right. Before we start the Torah portion, I said last night, you don't think clothes are important, but I want to show you how important clothes are. Don't ever forget this. We saw that the man got kicked out of heaven because he didn't have on the right clothes, right? So I want to show you how important clothes are in the earth. Let's go to Numbers, chapter 20, and start at verse 23. But this is the story of Aharon, and they only did one thing to him. One thing.
All right, this is Numbers, or Midbar, 20 and 23. Let me change this. I'm sorry, I had to change the Bible in here. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and Aharon in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aharon shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. And Aharon and Eleazar his son, take Aharon and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aharon of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aharon shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there. And Moses did as Yahweh commanded, and they went out to Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aharon of his garments and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aharon died there in the top of the mount, and Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount.
What happened here? See how important clothes are? Aharon was the high priest. Stripped him of his high priest garments. He was no longer high priest. All he did was took the clothes off. Yes, sir. Address.
Was Numbers 23 to 28.
So all he did was take the clothes off of him. And he was no longer high priest, and he put him on Eleazar, and Eleazar became high priest. That's pretty important, isn't it? All he did was clothes. See how Yahweh does things? He usually does only one thing to show you how great he is. He only did one thing. Same way with Adam and Eve. They were clothed in glory, but when they sinned, they lost their glory. So what did he do? They were naked. And so Abba got them, had a sacrifice, took the skins and put them on Adam and Eve clothes. See how important clothes is? Real important. Let's go again. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and start at verse 12.
Okay, Isaiah or Yeshayahu 14, beginning at 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of hell. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend to the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and it did shake kingdoms?
Wow. What happened? He stripped him of his clothing, of his glory. See how important clothes are? You think they're not important? You better think again. That's all he did. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37. We'll add a little more to that. Start at verse 12, I think it is. Is it Ezekiel? No, 28 now. 28, excuse me. And start at verse 12, I think it is.
Ezekiel 28 and 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the sovereign Yahweh, thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardis, topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Elohim. I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire.
So you see why they couldn't recognize him anymore? His what do you call that? Breastplate with 9 stones. He was stripped of it. All his glory, he was stripped. That's all about Abba did to him, was strip him, and they couldn't recognize him. You see how important clothes are? I'll bring it down to where we can all understand it. This one we can all understand. What does these stories remind us of? Stripping, clothing. What do they remind us of?
I'm not not sure if this is right or not, but I feel like.
Well, let's hear it.
The thing is, when Adam and Eve were in the garden, they were naked. The thing is, when Adam and Eve were in the garden, they were naked. That was before sin. And then once they sinned and it came on the earth, Yahweh didn't want to see their nakedness anymore.
Mhm.
And I think it's the same with us. I think we are set apart as his children by the clothing that we wear.
Mhm.
And we are covered, showing respect that man sinned and got kicked out of the garden, and we live on an earth that is very sinful.
Mhm.
So we should remain covered.
Okay, good. Anybody else? What does stripped mean? Let's think natural. I'll give you a big hint. Television. Well, let me rephrase it. Clothing, television. No, don't think that away. Okay. Doesn't this remind you of Hollywood? All you have to do is change your clothes. You are a different character. That's all Hollywood does. They go change clothes, and now you are a different person. Seeing the natural types of spiritual. How many see that? How important is clothes to Hollywood? They got racks and racks and racks and racks and racks of clothes to change the character. I'm even into the world understands that. How important clothes is. What did they do to the bride? They stripped her. In the Song of Solomon, took off her covering. See? Mm-hmm. Let me see. Let me go to let me get this one. All right, let's go to Revelation 17 and 16.
Okay, Revelations of Giliana 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
What did they do? They stripped her. She had all these crowns and all these things, and they stripped her. You see how important clothing are? Let's go to a real good one. Let's go to Revelations 3 and let me get my verse here. Start at verse 15.
Giliana, Revelations 3 and 15.
Make sure you pay attention to verse
I
18.
know thy works, that thou art neither hot nor cold. I would thou were hot or cold. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and I have need of nothing. Thou knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
What? Naked. Listen to what he says. Keep reading.
I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with thy salve, that thou mayest see.
How important is clothes? What is he saying? Go put you something on so I don't have to see your nakedness. Remember, the more flesh you show, the more flesh is in control. Always remember that. See, in the Eastern culture, and that's what we're going back to, the more clothing you wore, the more affluent you were. Only slaves went naked. So where are we going back to? Are we going to a Western culture or Eastern culture? See? And remember, when I talked about culture, Let me explain. I'm not talking about you can't be who you are or what you are, but there are certain things you can't do anymore that your culture is against what Yahweh says to do. Like in Africa, they got a lot of witchcraft, and you can't, that ain't happening. You have to leave that behind. It's just like Abraham. He came from the cradle of witchcraft. Of Chaldees. Did he take it with him? That's how he got the name Hebrew. He crossed over from wickedness to righteousness. So he had to leave his culture and follow what Yahweh has for him. How many see that? See, it doesn't mean you can't eat your special food as long as it's clean. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all these witchy things and all of that. You're going to have to leave that behind. See, that's what made Abraham a Hebrew. He left his daddy and all his idols and witchcraft and all of that behind. See, in order to be a Hebrew and cross over, he had to leave that stuff behind and come over here and do what Yahweh wanted him to do. That's what I mean when I say you're going to have to leave your culture. See, because we're going back to an Eastern culture and not a Western culture. See, how many see that? See, there are certain things. I'm from Oklahoma and ending the country. And there were certain things they did. One of them we used to do was called a 49. That means after the powwow, we went out to a certain place and got drunk or whatever. They call it the 49. Well, do you think you can do the 49? No. See what I mean? You can't take the certain things of your past you can't take with you. I mean, every tribe and nation has these things that they do. Okay? That's what I meant by you can't take your culture with you. You can, and matter of fact, one day you even gonna have to leave your own language. We're not gonna speak English anymore. We just read it last night. And Zephaniah says, I'm gonna give them a pure language that they can all call on me with one consent. So what's the problem today? Communicate there used to be an old song, communication breakdown. That's the problem. See, people think it's racism. That's a trick of the devil. Don't ever forget that. Your color has nothing to do with you, but your character does. Y'all look at me. Have I treated any of you different because you're a different color than me? No, I will not put up with it. Not for a second. We had some people come here and they were Black Hebrews. Guess what? I showed them the door. I don't put up with that mess. Yahweh doesn't put up with that mess. He said, man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh looking at the heart. That's all that matters. The heart. See? So let's know what the enemy is trying to put on us. See, that's racism stirs up people quicker than anything. But what did here? Since I'm here, I was going to teach on a Friday night, but here I am. Anyway, check this out. They talk about slaves in America. But every nation has had slaves. Slavery is still going on in Africa. Not only that, 2/3 of the slaves that left Africa went to South America, not North America. Yes, ma'am. Everybody was sold into slavery. I just said that every nation has had slaves. See, so that's not what it's about. That's something that get people see. The thing of it is, they want you emotional. Once they get you emotional, they got control. See, that's why we talk about having a piece of Mashiach on the inside of us. See, there are certain places we can go. If we do, that's an insult to that person, but it's something we do all the time here. See, so communication is the real problem, not your color of your skin. Just a second, because we got this, we got same parents, I'll say it this way, 3 different times. We got the Heavenly Father, we had Adam and Eve, and Noah. So, hey, cuz, go to Acts 17:26. So we're all cuz.
Acts, or Maseshlehim 17:26, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation.
So if we all got one blood, we kinfolks, ain't we? Hey, cuz. Okay, so I got that out of the way. Now, people don't think food is important. We showed you last night how important this whole thing started over food, correct? But listen to what Yahweh says. This is the I believe during the millennial reign. Let's go to Isaiah 66:17.
Isaiah 66, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh.
So is food important? All these people did was eat. The wrong thing. See, when he said don't do it, he means business. Don't do it. It's just not because he said it, don't do it. He said it because it's not good for you. He made these bodies. He knows what's good for us and what will destroy this body. See, he's being merciful to us so we can live longer. Did you have something you wanted to say? Oh. So, food is very important. Very important. What we eat is very important. And when you read the book of Revelations, let's go to one. I'll just pick one for you.
Rabbi, what was that earlier? You said 24.
44. If that's what you're talking about, that's let me get this one. It says just a second. It talks about where it says 3 spirits of like unclean spirits like frogs. It's Revelation. Somebody will have to find it for me. I'm not seeing it right now, but I know it's there. Mm-hmm. Here it is, 16:13.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
How many of us used to like them good old frog legs? Well, they're unclean. See, so again, we're proving all over again that he told the end from the beginning. That lesson last night was powerful. We should never forget that. And well, in these last few lessons or any of the lessons, but Yah was trying to show us how important things are to him. And when he says don't do it, he means don't do it. He's got a reason why he doesn't want us to do it. I'm going to see that. All right. There was something else. Oh, here's another one. Talking about clothes. Listen to this. Go to Revelations 10 and verse 1.
Revelations or Gileana 10 and verse 1. I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was on his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire.
He was what? Clothed. Go to Revelations 12 and 1.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Clothed. See, I didn't write the book. Golden book. I just know how to look for witnesses and patterns. How many see that? All right, that's enough of that. Let's go to Torah Parsha. This is a good Torah portion. Let me get the right one. Tammy, would you read at least 12 verses of the Torah Parsha so no tribe be left behind?
Okay, it's Parsha 9, and it's Vayeshev, and he dwelt, and it's Bereshit or Genesis 37:1 to 40:23. And beginning in verse 1, and Yaakov dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. And this is the genealogy of Yaakov. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flocks with his brothers. And the young man was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report of them to his father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all of his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a long robe. But when his father saw that when her brothers saw that their fathers loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and were not able to speak peaceably to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to the brothers, so they hated him even more. And he said to them, please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field, and see, my sheep rose up and stood up. And see, your sheep stood all around and bowed down to my sheep. And his brothers said to him, shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream and related it to his brothers and said, see, I have dreamed another dream, and see, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. And he related it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you've dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, and your brothers indeed come to bow down to earth before you? And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flocks in Shechem.
All right. Sometimes we're a stranger in our own land or in our own house because one person loves the truth, the rest of them don't. And that makes you a stranger. Sometimes you're a stranger in your own land, just like Yahushua. He came to his own, and his own received him not. Sometimes we're a stranger in our own place. And so we have to deal with that. See, remember, we need that. Can I say it again? We need that. Because I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but hate puts us in the right place that Yahweh wants us to be. We'll see it right here. It was, how did this whole thing start out? They hated him. They hated him. Sometimes being the favorite child can bring a lot of hate. They don't like it because you're the favorite, and you get this and you get that. And But because of their hate, remember, I'm the end of the story. Joseph can sit on the throne. He can look back and say, it's your hate that got me here. See how we need to take things? We take things way too personal. You need to stop that. See, even Joseph said, what you did for evil, Yahweh turned it into good. See, because we take things too personal. Oh, I'm no good. I'm the worst person. Really? Because you made one mistake, you're the worst person in the world? Get a grip. So here's the favorite son. He was the favorite son because the daddy made him a coat of many colors. And nobody else had that, you know. That's all it was. Clothing. You see how important clothing is? All his daddy did was made him a garment different from the rest of them. And boy, they did not like it. So Sometimes we're blessed and high. We may be blessed and highly favored, but we're hated. But that's okay. Remember, I'm writing a song. I've written a song called "Just a Booster." These brothers was just a booster. A lot of times when we meet people that are just a booster. In other words, remember the shuttle. They had these two big rockets on either side. Great big rockets, the Saturn V's. And they would fire them things up and they'd take that shuttle in the air. And when they go about 2 or 3 miles, and what would the boosters do? Fall away. That's the way it is with some people. Some people are with you big time. Ooh, yeah. But they only go a little ways and they fall away. Because that's what they were created to do, to take you to a higher space, a higher place. Don't get mad at them. They were only created to take you to a higher place, just like these brothers. Their hatred was only meant to take Joseph to a higher place. How many see that? See, we got to, hatred is pain. We got to do, see, it goes back to the teachings over there about pain. Got to view it a little different, because if Yahweh be for us, who can be against us? I remember when we first got started with this, we were living in Oklahoma, and the rock woke me up in the middle of the night, and I was just screaming, damn it. He can reverse the curse. He can reverse the curse. Remember that?
Yes, I sure do. Scared me half to death.
Well, that's when I get things.
Yeah.
That's what he does me. And so if I don't write or do it, hey, it's gone. See? And so that's why I learned their hatred is going to get me in the right place. See? Suppose Joseph would have stayed with his kinfolks. See? Now, let me show you something. Now, when your people come to you, you can show them. You can take the book out and show them. Some of them, a few, may want to join you. But at least they can't point the finger at you and say, you didn't tell me. See? So it's okay if they want to hate you. We have to have it in our lives in order to get us to a different place. How many see that? So being the favored person can cause a lot of hatred towards you, a lot of animosity, and all these other words you can fill in. But that's okay. You got to have big shoulders and carry the load, because you're something special, or he wouldn't be sending you that. I'll say it again. You're something special, or he wouldn't be sending you that. Amen? So don't forget that. It's okay. Just chalk it up. I need it. He sent it. I need it. I'm going to make it work. All right. See, and let's go to Numbers 12:1.
Numbers or Bamidbar 12:1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman.
So his own brother and sister hated him, huh? See what I mean? Let's go to Judges 11:1-11. Sometimes the very one we sent to help is going to hate us.
Judges or Shoftim 11:1-11. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot. And Gilead begat Jephthah. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob, and there were gathered vain men to Jephthah, and they went with him. And it came to pass in the process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob. And they said unto Jephthah, come and be our captain, that we might fight the children of Ammon. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, did not ye hate me and expel me out of my father's house? And why are you come to me now when you're in distress? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, therefore we turn again to thee now, and thou mayest go with us and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead.
See that? The very ones he had to help hated him. But Yahweh created a situation that they had to come bow down to him and said, hey, we got to have your help. See how Yahweh does things? Don't worry about them hating you. My family thought I was a nut too. Did it stop me? No. Remember, we need to let everything strengthen our resolve, not weaken it. Just because they hate you, you act like you're the only person that ever been hated in the world, really. Come on, get a grip. They're going to hate you. Let's look at David's brothers. 1 Samuel 17, 28 and 29. Samuel 17, 28 and 29.
1 Samuel 17, 28 and 29. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why comest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, what have I done? What have I now done? Is there not a cause?
See, the greatest warrior in the camp was hated. His own brothers hated him. Remember the story? When Samuel came to anoint somebody king, 7 brothers came by. And Yahweh says, this ain't them. And Samuel said, is there any more? And he said, yep, there's one way over there. He tended sheep. See, the lowest place in Israel. Where is he coming to? So if you feel like you're in a hole, you're in a good place, because that's where he's coming. That's where he exalts from, the hole. So here it is. David's brothers hated him. But who killed Goliath? See how you're going to have to deal with this hatred? We're going to think different. We think it's always bad, but if y'all was in control, he's going to turn it out for our good. See? Quit taking it so personal, because y'all was in the plan. So the thing of when hatred comes is what we do next that counts. And we've learned what should we do next. Hands up. That's all we can do. Hands up. Father, they hated me without a cause. Hands up. Now he can work in your behalf. Because he said, I'll make your enemies your footstool. I'll smite your enemies before your face. They will come at you one way and flee before these 7 ways. Get them hands up. Amen. They hated Yahushua. He came to his own, and his own received him not. The very one they've been praying for and looking for, they hated. When he showed up, they had gained so much power that they didn't want to lose their power and control. So they said, we don't want him. And they tried everything. He ain't the one, and all those things. But even the earth said, yes, he is. How did the earth say it?
Because after he was on the stake, there was an earthquake and the rocks were rent.
While he was at the stake, the sky went dark. There was earthquakes. The rocks quaked. The rocks was rent in twain. All the veil in the temple was rent in twain. See, even the elements knew who he was, because he's the creator. The earth knew who he was. See? Now he can, He can look back and see. Oh, another thing. Let me throw this in. Well, I'll wait on that one. This is good one though. So when people hate you, we got to think, what's the Father doing with this? Instead of saying, "Oh, they hate me. I did so much more." Is he looking for babies? Is that what soldiers act? No. You don't think he's looking for soldiers? That's all he's looking for, soldiers. Soldiers are overcomers. See, that's what we're learning to do, be an overcomer. See? So there are a lot of people that are going to come in your life and they seem big for a little while. Remember, they're just a booster. And that same spaceship, when it's flying, gets to a certain place in the atmosphere, it needs correction. So that same spaceship has smaller rockets. They fire them off and they go for a little bit and they shut them off. These are other people in our life just for a little bit and they're gone. Because we need a little correction here. See? So they're just a booster. You don't get mad at them and say, "Them rockets." Did the astronaut say, "No, them rockets, I hate them"? No, they better have them rockets. Keep them on course. How many see that? So it's what we do next when these things happen. And we've learned what we need to do next is hands up. Hands up. So they hated the prophets. They hated the apostles. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you about Yahushua. He came back and they asked him, "Where did you get those wounds in your hands?" And what did he say? He says, "Hey, because of these is what my friends gave me. And because of these, I got a name above every name. And at my name, every knee's going to bow. And every tongue." Hey, I needed those people. He couldn't put himself on the stake. So we need to understand how the Father's working in these things. All right, then Joseph had the two dreams that the 11 stars, the sun and the moon would come and bow down to him. Had it two. Why does he give it to him twice? To establish it. He always uses what? When he really wants to tell you something, he uses what?
2 or 3 witnesses.
2 or 3. So he had the dream twice. Who else had 2 dreams? Pharaoh. Who else? Just a little bit before Belshazzar. Nebuchadnezzar. And when they had them double dreams, it all came exactly like dream showed them. See? So, we need to understand about dreams. Every dream ain't from Yahweh. Maybe you ate too much. Yeah, something like that. So we need to realize what's going on. Now I want to show you, we're in Genesis. We heard about the what? The sun and the moon and 11 stars. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and 1 again.
Revelations or Gilliana 12 and 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now we'll see the sun and the moon, but this time we'll see 12 stars. All the suns are back together. See how he told the end from the beginning? See, now we're able to take this book and prove to them that he told the end from the beginning. And if you don't go back to the beginning, you're going to get it wrong every time. So when they tell you that the Old Testament is done away with or the Torah is done away with, we need to be like Mr. Brown. You lying. Because they are. They lying to you. We proved it last night it's irrefutable without a shadow of a doubt. If you doubt after last night, you got major, you didn't drank the Kool-Aid that Yahweh sent you called strong delusion. And so he had two dreams. And so let's go to Acts chapter 10 and 13 through 16. How many times did he let this thing down to Peter? Trying to get Peter's attention.
Okay, Acts or Meseshlahim 10, verse 13. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Kepha, kill and eat. But Kepha said, Not so, master, for I have never eaten anything that's common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What Yahweh hath cleansed, that call not thou uncommon. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
How many witnesses did Peter get? 3-4 witnesses. And he finally got it right for a little while. Go to verse 34, same chapter.
Then Kepha opened his mouth and said, Of a truth, I perceive that Yahweh is no respecter of persons.
See, your color don't mean nothing. He's no respecter of persons. And he said, I never eat anything unclean. So Yahushua's gone off the scene, and they're still keeping the Torah. They're eating kosher. So it's still in effect. The apostles are doing this. See how way off they are? The church is so far off. We're blessed. We're special. See, if you don't realize how special you are, you'll take it lightly and give up. You got to realize how special you are. How many people know what we know? There's approximately 8 billion people on the earth. You go out there and give me a number. 100,000. Anybody else? It's approximately 8 billion people on the earth. Know what we know. Well, it's a few more than that, but you see the number, how the number goes down from 8 billion to woof. I don't know exactly the number, but it ain't even a billion. See, because it calls it few find it. Let's go to that. Was that Luke 10? Straight and narrow? Nope. Maybe it's Matthew 10. Let's go to Matthew 10. I'll get it here. Yeah. 34. Nope, that ain't it either. Where's it? My scripture at? Somebody find the straight and narrow. Here it is. 7. 7:13. Start there. Matthew 7:13.
Yahoo, Matthew 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
See, he says few be that find it. And we're part of the few. We're privileged. You got to realize you're special, you're privileged to hear the truth. See, I realize I'm privileged, I'm special. See, because I know where I come from. I haven't forgot where I come from. I was a drug addict. Strung out. But one day I fell on my knees. Hands up. February 1980. I'll never forget it. Been running ever since. See, I remember where he brought me from. So now I realize I'm privileged and I'm special. Because see, I had to go through the church and all of that to get this. Remember, we had a church and 90% of the people got up and walked out on us, all the leaders. But I told them, I don't care. I go get me a job, but I'm going to preach the truth. I've been doing it ever since. About 2003, 3, somewhere around in there. So we got to let everything strengthen our resolve and not weaken our resolve. Again, I'm writing a new song. Go ahead and strengthen my resolve. In other words, you bring something against me, it's only going to strengthen. That's where I was when I was a hippie. You said I can't, I just got better. So that's what we need to do. Use all these things to strengthen us, to know. See, we need to know what what's the word I'm looking for? What situations that's not the word I want to use, but what situations tell us that we're on the right road? See, there are certain things that tells us. Hatred is one of them. All the people in the book that had the truth, they were hated. I mean, they were hated. So if you've been hated because you got this, you know you're on the right road. See, it's an indicator that I'm on the right road. When we need indicators to tell us you're on the right road, just keep walking. See, that's what helped me. I was hated. Mama on down. They didn't like it. Thought I was on the wrong road, but when they needed prayer, when they needed truth, who did they call? See. All right, so Joseph had the 2 dreams, and the brothers didn't like it. And then Daddy said, Joseph, I want you to go check on them brothers of yours. See how they're doing. And he went to check on them, and they weren't where they were supposed to be. See, that's why we want to be where we're supposed to be. On Shabbat, we need to be in the house, the shul, not out doing your own thing. Because when he comes back, you better be where you're supposed to be, or you're going to get left behind. How many remember the stories of the 10 virgins? 5 wise, 5 foolish. The 5 wise were where they were supposed to be. The 5 foolish were where they weren't supposed to be. Who got left behind? The 5 foolish, because they weren't where they supposed to be. They had to come knocking on the door. Yeah, let us in. What did he tell them? Hey, I don't know you. Because you're not where you're supposed to be. See, it says he's coming like a thief in the night. That means you can't set your religion down and go do what you want to do. This has got to be a way of life. We got to do it every day. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but it's a walk. And when we mess up, we got the blood of Mashiach to clean us up and get us back in the journey again. See, but we got to let people know I'm walking this way. I'm not going to do your Christmas or your Easter or your Halloween, and I'm not going to eat your pork and your shrimp. And see, we got to let them know. That's a nice way to do it. But we got to let them know. I'm doing what Yahushua did. Moses did. Daniel did. The apostles did. And even what Paul did. Yeah. So he went to see his brothers, and the brother wasn't where they were supposed to be. And when he did find them, what did they do? They did what? Oh, that's where you need to go. Satin part and clothes off. They thought taking his clothes off was all they needed. Man. So they were trying to kill the dream. And it looked like they had the job done from a fleshly standpoint. But they actually were contributing to the dream. See how hatred and all these things do? They're actually contributing to where Yahweh wants us to be. How many see that? See, I'm proud of y'all because we all got a story. We all been to this and that and the other. We all got a story, but we're not what we used to be. We're not what we used to be. And so they conspired to kill him. And remember, if Yahweh will be for us, who can be against us? They thought they killed the dream. They threw him in the pit. And they thought, we're going to get rid of this dude. And if I get rid of this dude, I get rid of the dream. But the dude wasn't the one that gave the dream. The father was the one that gave him the dream. So they didn't kill the father or the dream. Matter of fact, they helped the dream to come to fruition. I got English teachers here, Cece, she was too cool for school. So was I. I'd wait for somebody else to do my lesson for me. I was a straight A student till I got to about the 10th grade, and the little girls got in my eyes, and then come the drugs, and that was it. See, but guess what? I still had to go back to school to get this. See, so we need to be educated in the right thing. And that's why we need to educate our educate our students in the right things. You need to know reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are things you're going to take with you the rest of your life. Most of those other things they're teaching is worthless. You need to learn home economics, how to balance a checkbook, and all those things. But the rest of it, what they're teaching is a bunch of it. And so they thought they killed it. Just like, remember Haman? He built him a beautiful set of gallows and thought, I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to get rid of Mordecai. He think he's so smart. He won't do what I want him to do. And guess who went on the gallows? Haman and all his sons. See what y'all, you think you doing us in? You're doing us a favor. They're actually doing us a favor. These brothers actually did Joseph a favor because the dream said he would save. See, and this is what's so powerful about this. And this is what we got to remember. Joseph had the dreams, but the father didn't tell him how he's going to get him there, did he? He didn't tell him you got to go to pit and all that. He just told him about the dream. He told him about the end. Joseph chose the end. That's why we need to choose the end. Don't choose the beginning because you have no say of the end. But if I choose the end, I have no say of I get that, but I know what the reward I'm going to get. How many see that? It's very important that we choose the end. So Joseph chose the end. But these brothers, they conspired against him. See, there are people that's conspiring against us. We always got an enemy from within. Look at America today. I don't want to go there. I better stop. Woo, go somewhere else. And so I thought I heard a baby crying. Okay. So remember, if Yahweh be for us, who can be against us? It seems like those things are against us, but they're actually for us. They're bringing things into fruition because he needs us in a certain place. And he uses what? To get us pain. He uses pain to get there. Well, do you think the pit was pain or pleasure? See, but that's what he used. How many see that? You see how the Father does things? He used pain to get Joseph where he needed him to be. And then the brothers try to cover up the lie. They go to the daddy and say, is this your son's coat? They dip it in blood and all, Took it to his daddy, and daddy said, yep, that's my son's coat. We don't know. They lied to the daddy. For 23 years, they lied to this daddy. But that's okay. See, y'all's got a master plan. We can be part of it or not. And if we get them hands up, we're part of it. See, this didn't look good for Joseph. He's the favorite son, stripped of his coat and in the pit. But the dream said he's going to save them all. What would we be thinking? Man, I had that dream, but this went the opposite of what the dream was. See how the Father does things? That's how he gets us to where he wants us to go. How many see that? And so Joseph was at the bottom, but where was he headed? I got a song. I was on bottom, but I made it to the top. See, always remember that. I was on bottom, but I made it to the top. I was strung out on drugs. Bottom. That's why a lot of people, you try to help them, you can't help them till they hit bottom. They got to hit bottom. You keep praying for them, but they got to hit bottom. They got to see it. I was at the bottom. Someone would be talking to me, and I'd be way out there somewhere. And they would hit me. I'd say, what? See, when I was in school, I didn't have to take no books home. I had a photographic memory. I could sit in school, make good grades. But drugs, that's why you see me struggling sometimes with these scriptures. Used to boom, 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 boom. But I think y'all, I got this much left. Because the way we did things, we just didn't do drugs. It was competition. It was always the last man standing. Always. No matter what it was the last. We did it to see who was the last man standing. See, so the Abba's been good to me. I even got this much brain left. And now, see, I told you, I failed so many times. I fell into the truth. We need to give thanks for our failures. I'm glad I failed. Would I ever got this had I made it? No. All right, so they lied to the daddy for 23 years, but he was on bottom, but he was headed to the... All right, then we learn about Yehuda. Time for Yehuda to do his thing. Read Genesis 38, start 1 through 10.
Bereshit, Genesis 38, 1 through 10. And at that time it came to be that Yehuda left his brothers and turned aside to a man, an Adulamite, whose name was Hara. And Yehuda saw that there was a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. And he took her and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son and called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son and called his name Salah. And he was at Kizib when she bore him. And Yehuda took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yehuda's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh took his life. And Yehuda said to Onan, go in to your brother's wife and marry her and raise up an heir for your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be that when he went into his brother's wife, he spilled on the ground, lest she should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too.
See, Yahweh's not playing games. When he says do it, we do it. When he says don't do it, we don't do it. And when we miss the mark, we repent and say, have mercy, like David. Psalm 51, have mercy upon me, O Yahweh, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercies. Blot out my transgression. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquities. Cleanse me from my sins. For I acknowledge my transgression. My sins are ever before thee. See, we can't hide them. So you might as well confess them. Get them under the blood of Mashiach. So here's Judah, and he has 3 sons, and 2 sons are just wicked as can be. But he was supposed to give that Tamar to his 3rd son, and he didn't do it. He told Tamar to go back to your people and stay there until Shelah is grown. Well, he got grown, and Judah didn't do it. And so here comes Judah. He's out shearing his sheep somewhere, and he sees this strange woman, and she has the clothing of only what made her look like a harlot? Same way today. You go down Project. Every big city has a Project Street. And boy, it's one of the worst streets, including Martin Luther King. They're the worst streets in the place. And you see, because they dress like that. And so he told her to go and stay, and he went into her and gave her his cane and stuff, and he wanted to get his stuff back, and they said, "Where is it?" And he said, "No harlot in this place." And so he finds out who she really is, that it's his daughter-in-law. And he says, "Bring her out here, let's burn her." And she brings the goods out. She has the goods. Says, "Well, would you tell me whose staff is? Whose ring is this?" She says, "Whose are those?" He says, "Uh-oh, I'm caught now. She's more righteous than I am, because I was supposed to give her Shelah, and I didn't do it." And so she has 2 twins, Perez and Zerah, and one of them's going to be great. One of them's going to be great. All right, moving on. Let's get Joseph in Egypt. Genesis 39, 1-6.
Okay, Genesis 39, 1-6. And Joseph had been taken down to Mitzrayim, or Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, a Mitzrayite or an Egyptian, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man and was in the house of his master, the Mitzrayite. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes and served him, and he appointed him over his house and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be from that time that he appointed him over his house and all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Mitzrayite's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was on all that he had in the house and in the field.
Okay.
And he
So let me back up a little bit. The brothers concocted an idea, but Judah wanted to sell him. And so Reuben tried to get it, was going to keep him from, get him out of the pit, take him back to his daddy. But the brothers come up with the idea, let's sell him. So they sold him to the Ishmaelites, or however it goes, and the Ishmaelites sold him to the Midianites, and the Midianites sold him, took him to Egypt, and sold him to Potiphar. You see how Yahweh's plan is? Who's causing all this? See, but we think, oh, this is happening to me. Hey, that was... Hands up. So all they concocted was a part of the plan. All they came up with, those brothers, those Ishmaelites, those Midianites. Now he's in Egypt, just where Yahweh wanted him. But it took hate to get him there. Took pain to get him there. He had the dreams, but he didn't know it was going to be like this. See, we think, oh, I got a dream. Oh, it's going to be great. You better think again. Because Yahweh does things. He says, my ways are not your ways, neither are my thoughts your thoughts. For as high as the heaven is above the earth, so are my thoughts above your thoughts. So we're thinking up here, and he's down here sometime, thinking they're looking for pleasure and prosperity to get there, but I'm going to sneak them in hatred and pain. And you see, it fools the enemy every time. Every time. Yahweh used hate and pain to fool him. The brothers thought we got rid of him, won't see him no more. But check this out. He got to Egypt. They sold him to Potiphar. And Potiphar, a heathen, could see by the way Joseph lived that he was blessed of Yahweh. See? We got to have this idea in our mind. We're going to take whatever's left and do our very best. Wherever we're at, see, the thing of it is, keep a right-handed attitude and keep those hands up. We're going to make it. Got to have a good attitude, though. Attitude's everything. Got to have a good attitude. Supposing Joseph had a bad attitude and broke loose and tried to get back to Canaan's land. Oh, that would hurt the dream, wouldn't it? See, but he had a good attitude. And so we can see that, and this is a pattern for all Yahweh's people. Abraham kept a good attitude. He was filthy rich. Daniel had a good attitude, and he kept getting exalted. The Hebrew boys, Moses, Gideon, Jacob, and then the story goes on and on. See, it's all about our attitude. Remember, what's the two things I watch for when you come through the door? Your attitude, and do you got a book? First thing I'm looking to see, what is your attitude? You do the same thing when your kids come to the house. You're looking to see, are they having fun or are they sad? You're looking to see what's their attitude. So you know how to help them because of that. It's no different with me. Amen. And so now, Potiphar's wife spies him out. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. He good looking. So we got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to run, when to fight. So she tried to bring him around, and he took off, left his garment, and she lied on him. Clothing again. You don't think clothing is important? See how the church taught us wrong? They taught us so. And so he left his garment, and she come in there and told Potiphar, he left his garment with me, and no, it was her that concocted this thing. So now, Potiphar takes Joseph and puts him in prison. Let's go back and look at this. His brothers hate him. He's in the pit. He gets sold to the Ishmaelites, to the Midianites, and to Potiphar. Potiphar's wife lies on him. Now he's in the prison. Boy, he's really, and it just seems, sometimes our life seems to be, it's time to put your hands up. Gabriel, I want both hands. No, I'm teasing you. I gotta get you back, Russ. But even in prison, he's prosperous. The prison captain sees how well mannered and all this about Joseph. See, he kept a good attitude. He didn't come around, well, I'm in prison. I'm forget about this, but I must have seen a lie. He was lying to me. No, he kept a good attitude. See, the just shall live by faith and not by the things around us. We're so worried about the things around us. Don't worry about what things around us. Keep our eyes on the prize. Buy the truth and sell it not, because it is Priceless. So now he's in prison. And scripture says they put him in chains. And so now here comes the butler and the baker. 2 more dreams. And he interprets the dream. And he told the butler, you're going to be restored. And to the baker, you're going to be killed. And the dream came exactly like it happened. But he told the butler, remember me when you get to your kingdom. Did he remember him? 2 more years. So he's forgotten. But who didn't forget about him? Yahweh. Hebrews 6 and 10.
Hebrews 6 and 10. For Yahweh is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shown toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints, and you do minister.
See, Yahweh has not forgot about us. Sometimes it looks like it, but he ain't forgot about us. See, there's another scripture, Galatians 6 and 9.
All right, Galatians. If I can get this to go on, Galatians 6 and 9. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
See, be not weary in well doing. When it seems like everybody else gets the blessing, that's okay. That's that. He makes all things beautiful in
His time.
his time. Well, it's just not your turn. But he hadn't forgot about you. See? Because he has books. So and so done this. So and so done that. So and so done that. Then one day, you're not going to be thinking about it. And here it comes. See, it's going to boomerang. Remember, I'm working on a new song called Boomerang. However you send it out, coming back only, it's going to be loaded. Well, if you send out hate, what's coming back? Only it's going to be loaded. If you send out love, what's coming back? Love. Only it's going to be loaded. Okay? And so here Joseph is, he told him the dreams, and the man forgot about it for 2 whole years. But there's a reason, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's a reason why he was allowed to forget about him 2 whole years. Mm-hmm. See, everything's in his master plan. There's no oops with Yahweh. See, if he told the end from the beginning, come on now. There's no oops with him. See, and I want to say again, I'm proud of y'all. Very proud of y'all. On those here and those on Zoom. And why? Because you're special. You're special. You're privileged. It ain't easy walking this way. It is not easy. Huh?
I said, you don't fit in, that's for sure.
And here's another thing is, where's that at? Ezekiel 40, where's that at? Get the sons of Zadok. Here it is, 44.
15.
Let's start at 12. I just want to throw 12, but go back, jump down to 15. I just want to show you something.
Okay, Ezekiel 44, beginning in 12. Because they ministered unto me before their idols and caused the house of Israel to fall into iniquity. Therefore have I lifted up mine hand against them, saith the sovereign Yahweh.
When the Father lifts up his hands against them, woo, watch out. Now jump down to that verse.
But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary. When the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith the sovereign Yahweh.
Go back to verse 10.
And the Levites that are gone away from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their iniquity.
See, the leaders went astray. But the sons of Zadok didn't follow him. They stuck with the book. And that's what's happening in the Messianic movement. There's a lot of them going astray. They're going after all these different things. They're saying a lot of different things that's not in the book. They're going to different books to add things. And here's the reason why. We've been teaching this for almost 20 years. 2023 will be 20 years. What do you think happens in 20 years? Huh? Yeah, but what happens? Think about a teacher. What happens after 20 years? Yeah, but what happens to a teacher after that length of time? There you go. Things begin to get bored to you if you don't know how to refresh yourself. And so, because of that, what do they do? Outside of this book. Yeah. But I learned something. How do I refresh myself? Every year.
Back to the basics.
I go back to the basics. And I come up with something brand new. The Ruach gives me something brand new. Because I've learned. And it's true. You were in the military. What's the first thing they teach you in the military? Huh? No, they teach you basics. Basic training. That's following all, but they send you to basic training.
Break it down and then do it.
Yeah. So, if I want to grow some more, what do I have to do? Go back to the basics. Look, I'm gonna go here, but y'all know how Michael Jordan was, the basketball player. When he went back to training camp, what did they do to him? He had to go back and learn the basics. Great as he was, he had to go back to the basics because that's what you learn something better at. That's how you get better. People hate, that stuff too. No, that's where you get your game in. You go back to the basics. So that's what we do every year. We go back to the basics. And the Ruach gives us something. Look what we got now. What a teaching. Hands up. So Yahweh has not forgotten about you. May seem like it, but he hadn't forgot about us. So be not weary in well doing. Abba, we love and appreciate you. Appreciate your son, Yahushua. B'Shem Yahushua. Amen.
We are so thankful that you were with us today for the Torah Parsha. And since Brother Shane is homesick with the COVID and his little voice is lost, we are not going to have Hebrew class today. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare to close the room. We're going to eat and then visit a little bit and then go on home. Remember, Shabbat is not over until sundown your time. We love you. We appreciate you. We love the Abba and we thank him for everything. And I'm going to go ahead and pray over the food that we're going to have. And then I'm going to close the room. Abba, we love you. We adore you. We thank you for your kindness and goodness and mercy to us. We thank you for the good word you brought forth today. We thank you for allowing us to be on Zoom together and to be in the building here together. We thank you for the food we're about to have and the good land you've given us. But Father, most of all, we thank you for your son, Yahushua, and it's in his name we pray. Amen.